Here's part one of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess. Written in simple and basic English, in third-person style. ### Part 1. The crashing, the depths of space, far from Earth. A small human ship named Liberty Dawn floated quietly. The ship was part of a salvage crew, searching for old ships and lost treasures. The crew was tough and experienced, but nothing could prepare them for what lay ahead. Ethan Carter, a young engineer, was known for his bravery. He often took risks that others would avoid. His messy brown hair and bright blue eyes gave him a boyish look, but he had a heart full of courage. One day, as the crew worked on the ship, a loud alarm rang out. "Captain Brooks, we have a distress." "Signal," shouted Sam, the communications officer. He was a tall guy with a serious face. The crew gathered around the screen as a small red dot blinked on the display. "Where is it coming from?" Captain Laura Brooks asked, her voice steady and calm. She had short black hair and a sharp mind. "It's from a vessel near the Black Water Nebula," Sam replied, his fingers moving quickly over the controls. "It looks like it crashed." The Blackwater Nebula was a strange and dangerous place. It was filled with dark clouds and swirling colors. Many ships had disappeared in its depths, never to be seen again. But Captain Brooks was not one to back. Down from a challenge. "Prepare the shuttle." "We're going to check it out," she ordered. Ethan felt a rush of excitement. He loved adventures, and this one promised to be thrilling. He quickly gathered his gear and joined the crew as they boarded the shuttle. The small craft hummed to life, and soon they were flying towards the nebula dot as they approached. The nebula loomed large, its dark waters swirling like a storm. Ethan's heart raced. The distress signal was stronger now, guiding them to the wreckage. "There it is," shouted Sam, pointing to a small escape pod sinking slowly into the black waters. The pod was battered and covered in strange markings. "Ethan, you're going to lead the rescue," Captain Brooks said, looking at him with trust in her eyes. "Me?" Ethan asked, surprised. "Yes, you're the best swimmer here, and you know the equipment," she replied. "We'll lower you down." Ethan nodded, adrenaline pumping through him. They lowered the rescue harness, and he strapped himself in. As he descended, the dark waters of the nebula reached out, pulling at him like a living thing. He focused on the pod, which was now just above the surface. When he reached the pod, he noticed that it was almost completely submerged. He quickly activated his exogear, which allowed him to breathe and move easily in the thick liquid. With a powerful kick, he swam to the pod and pried open the hatch. Inside, he found a young woman, unconscious but alive. She had long, flowing hair that shimmered in the dim light. Her clothes were unlike anything he had ever seen, rich fabrics and intricate patterns that suggested she came from a faraway place. Ethan's heart raced as he carefully pulled her out of the pod. "Come on, I've got you," he said softly, trying to wake her. He could feel the weight of her body, but he was determined to save her. Suddenly, he heard a voice in his earpiece. "Ethan, we've got a problem. The alien ship is coming." His heart sank. He had to hurry. He swam with all his strength, dragging the woman through the thick waters towards the surface. Just as they broke through, he heard the roar of engines above. "Get her aboard." Captain Brooks shouted from the shuttle, her voice filled with urgency. Ethan clung to the woman tightly, swimming towards the shuttle's open door. The crew reached out to help him as he pulled her inside. He collapsed on the floor, panting for breath. "Is she okay?" Sam asked, looking worried. "I don't know," Ethan replied, glancing at the woman. She was pale, and her lips were blue. "We need to get her to the medbay." Captain Brooks moved quickly, giving orders to the crew. "Get the shuttle out of here. We need to leave before the aliens find us." As the shuttle powered up and began to rise. Ethan watched the alien ship in the distance. It was large and imposing, with sharp angles and glowing lights. He felt a chill run down his spine. They had to escape. In the medbay, Ethan and the ship's doctor, Dr. Patel, worked to revive the woman. Dr. Patel was a kind man with gentle hands. He quickly checked her vitals and began to warm her with blankets. After a few tense minutes, the woman's eyes fluttered open. She looked around, confused and scared. Ethan leaned closer. "Hey, you're safe now. We're on the Asterisk Liberty." "Dawn Asterisk," he said gently. The woman blinked and tried to sit up. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice weak but clear. "I'm Ethan. We rescued you from the pod," he explained. She stared at him, her eyes wide. "Thank you," she whispered. "I thought I was going to drown." "You're safe now," he assured her. "What's your name?" "Myra," she replied slowly, still trying to process what had happened. As she spoke, Ethan noticed something strange about her. There was a glow to her skin that seemed unnatural, and her eyes held a depth that was hard to describe. "Where are you from, Myra?" he asked, curious about her background. I'm a diplomat," she said hesitantly. "From a distant star system." Ethan exchanged glances with Captain Brooks and Sam. They could see that Myra was hiding something. But before they could ask more questions, an alarm blared through the ship. "Ethan, we have incoming!" Sam shouted, his face pale. Captain Brooks turned to Myra, her expression serious. "You need to tell us the truth. If they're looking for you, we need to know why." Myra's eyes widened with fear. I can't. They will kill me if they find me." "Who will?" Ethan pressed, feeling a knot of worry in his stomach. But Myra looked away, tears filling her eyes. She was clearly frightened, and Ethan wanted to help her, but he needed answers. "Whatever is going on, we will protect you," Captain Brooks said firmly. "But we need to know who we're dealing with." Myra took a deep breath, her eyes glistening with determination. "I'll tell you everything, but first we have to get out of here." As the Liberty Dawn moved away from the black waters of the nebula, Ethan felt a mix of emotions. He had jumped into danger to save a stranger, and now that stranger was hiding a secret that could change everything. He looked at Myra, determined to protect her no matter what came next. Little did he know, this was just the beginning of an adventure that would take them all into the depths of conflict and courage. Feel free to let me know if you need any adjustments or additional parts. Asterisk, here's part 2 of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess. Written in simple and basic English, in third-person style. ### part 2. The stranger Myra sat on the medbay bed, her legs swinging nervously. The room was bright, with lights shining down from the ceiling. Ethan stood nearby, watching her with concern. He wanted to help, but he could see she was scared. "Are you feeling better?" he asked gently. Myra nodded, but her eyes showed fear. "I don't know how to thank you," she said, her voice soft. "You saved my life." "It's what we do," Ethan replied with a small smile. "But we need to know more about you. Who are you running from?" Before Myra could answer, Captain Brooks entered the medbay. She looked serious but calm, her arms crossed. "Myra, we need to talk. If the aliens are after you, we need to prepare." Myra took a deep breath, her expression tightening. "I come from the Zalithian Empire. My father is the king, and I am his only daughter." Ethan's eyes widened. "You're a princess?" "Yes," she said, looking down. "But I didn't want to be a princess. I was supposed to marry a man I do not love. He is cruel, and I could not let that happen." Captain Brooks raised an eyebrow. "So you ran away? Did you steal a ship?" "I took an escape pod," Myra admitted. I thought it would be my only chance. My father has enemies, and they want to use me as a pawn. I just wanted to be free. Ethan felt a mix of admiration and sympathy. You did something brave, he said. But now they're coming for you. Yes, Mira replied, her voice trembling. They will stop at nothing to find me. Lord Varric is leading the search. He is powerful and ruthless. Who is Lord Varric? Captain Brooks asked, her voice firm. He is my father's advisor. He wants to marry me to gain control of the Empire. If I am not found, he will start a war, Mira explained, tears filling her eyes. Ethan felt a shiver run down his spine. What can we do to help you? We need to get to a safe place, Mira said urgently. Somewhere they cannot find. Captain Brooks nodded, thinking quickly. We need to leave this area. Let's head to the nearest neutral system. They might not look for you there. Ethan felt a surge of hope. We can do that, but we need to move fast. The captain turned to Sam, who was monitoring the ship's systems. Set a course for the nearest neutral star system. We need to. Leave now. Yes, Captain, Sam replied, typing on the control panel. The ship hummed with energy as it prepared to jump to hyperspace dot as the Liberty Dawn moved away from the black waters of the nebula. Ethan felt a sense of urgency. They were not just running from danger. They were protecting Mira. He looked over at her, and she smiled weakly in return. Thank you for believing in me, she said softly. Of course, Ethan replied, feeling a bond forming between them. We're in this together now. As they traveled through hyperspace, Mira began to relax. She watched the lights of stars fly past the windows, her eyes filled with wonder. I have never been in a ship like this before, she admitted. It is beautiful. Ethan leaned against the wall, feeling more comfortable. It's home for us. We travel a lot. Here's part 3 of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess. Written in simple and basic English. In third-person style. ### part 3. The pursuers as the Liberty Dawn traveled. Through hyperspace, the crew worked together to prepare for their next move. Captain Brooks stood at the control panel, her eyes focused. Ethan sat nearby, listening to Mira explain the safest places to hide. There are several small planets near the edge of the Zalithian Empire, Mira said, her voice steady. They are not well known and often ignored by travelers. We could stay there until it is safe for us to move. Sounds like a good plan, Captain Brooks replied. But we need to be careful. If Lord Varric is looking for you, he may send ships to search those areas. Ethan frowned, thinking about the danger they faced. What if we change our appearance? We could alter the ship's signature so they don't recognize us. That could work, Sam chimed in, his fingers tapping on the controls. If we can make the ship look like a different model, it might confuse them. Mira nodded, her eyes brightening. I know some technology that can help. The Zalethians have advanced systems for hiding ships. I can show you how to use them. Let's do it, Captain Brooks said, her determination clear. Every second counts. They moved quickly to the engineering room, where Ethan and Mira began to work on the ship's systems. Mira explained how to use the Zalithian tech, pointing out various controls and settings. Ethan listened carefully, admiring her knowledge. As they worked together, Ethan felt a growing connection with Mira. She was smart and brave, and he appreciated her willingness to help them. They laughed a little as they struggled with the strange technology, and soon they were making progress. Just a little more, Mira said, her fingers flying over the controls. We can hide our signature and make it look like we are a cargo ship instead. I think it's working, Ethan exclaimed, watching the screens change. Captain Brooks peeked in, a smile breaking her serious demeanor. Great job, you two. This might just give us the edge we need. After a few hours, they finished the modifications. The ship now looked like an ordinary cargo vessel on the sensors. Ethan felt a rush of excitement. Now we can head for the nearest safe planet. Let's plot a course, Captain Brooks said, her voice firm. We need to stay one step ahead of Varric. As they prepared to jump back into normal space, Ethan felt a twinge of anxiety. What if we're caught? He asked, glancing at Myra. We'll be ready, she replied, her eyes steady. Together, we can handle whatever comes our way. With a final check, Captain Brooks initiated the jump. The stars blurred around them, and then they were back in normal space. Okay, we're here, Sam announced, looking at the display. The planet is called Eldara. It's small and mostly uninhabited. Ethan looked out the window, seeing a green world below. It looks beautiful, he said, feeling hopeful. Let's land, Captain Brooks said, her voice full of purpose. We can figure out our next steps once we're on the ground. The ship descended through the atmosphere, and soon they were landing in a quiet area surrounded by tall trees and lush grass. Ethan felt a sense of relief wash over him as they touched down. Everyone, stay alert, Captain Brooks warned as they prepared to disembark. We don't know if anyone is watching. Ethan and Myra stepped off the ship, taking in the fresh air. The planet was peaceful, with sounds of birds and rustling leaves. It felt like a world far away from their troubles. This is nice, Myra said, smiling. It's different from my home, but it feels safe. They set up a small camp near the ship, using supplies from the Liberty Dawn. Ethan felt a sense of camaraderie with the crew. They worked together, sharing tasks, and keeping watch. As night fell, they gathered around a small fire. Mira told stories about her home, describing the grand castles and beautiful gardens of the Zalithian Empire. Ethan listened, fascinated. I wish I could see your world one day, he said, his eyes shining. It sounds amazing. Myra smiled softly. And I wish I could show you. But right now, I need to stay hidden. The atmosphere grew serious again as Captain Brooks spoke. We need to figure out our next move. Myra, do you have any idea how quickly Varric will find out you're missing? Myra frowned, thinking. He will likely realize I am gone within a few days. He has spies everywhere. We must move quickly. Ethan felt his stomach tighten. What will happen if he finds us? He will come for me, Myra said, her voice firm. He will not stop until he has me back. Captain Brooks nodded, her expression serious. Then we need to come up with a plan. If we can gather support from other factions, we might stand a chance against him. Support? Myra asked, her brow furrowing. Yes, Captain Brooks replied. There are rebel groups in the Zalithian Empire who want to see Varric overthrown. If we can contact them, they might help us. Ethan felt a spark of hope. That's a great idea. We can use the ship's communication systems to reach out to them. Myra's eyes widened. Do you think they will listen to us? They, Captain Brooks said. But we need to be careful. If Varric intercepts our messages, it could put us all in danger. Then we must be smart about it, Myra said, her determination returning. If we can convince them I am alive, they will help us. Ethan felt inspired by her strength. Let's do it. We can figure out a way to send a message without being detected. As they made their plans, Ethan couldn't help but admire Mira's courage. She was a princess, but she was also a fighter. He felt a sense of loyalty growing within him. He wanted to protect her and help her achieve her dreams. The next morning, they began working on their communication system. Mira guided Ethan as he set up the equipment, showing him how to send a coded message that would be hard for Varric to detect. As they worked, they shared more stories about their lives. Mira talked about her childhood, the lessons she had learned, and the friends she had left behind. Ethan shared stories about his own life on Earth, the adventures he had gone on, and the dreams he had for the future. "Maybe one day," Myra said, her eyes sparkling, "we can create a better future together." Ethan smiled, feeling a sense of hope. "I believe we can." As they finished sending the message, Ethan felt a sense of accomplishment. They had taken a step toward safety and freedom. But he also felt a weight on his shoulders. They were not out of danger yet. Later that day, as they finished their preparations, Ethan noticed movement in the trees nearby. His heart raced as he turned to Myra and Captain Brooks. "Did you see that?" he whispered. Captain Brooks nodded, her expression serious. "Everyone stay quiet. We might have company." Ethan felt a wave of fear wash over him. They had worked so hard to find safety, and now it seemed danger was closing in again. As the shadows moved closer, he could see figures emerging from the trees. His heart pounded in his chest, and he felt a mix of fear and determination. They had to protect Myra at all costs. The figures stepped into the light, and Ethan's breath caught in his throat. They were not alien soldiers. They were a group of people, armed but not hostile. "Who are you?" Captain Brooks called out, her voice steady. A tall man stepped forward, his face serious but not threatening. "We are rebels from the Zalethian Empire. We heard your message." Ethan felt a rush of hope. Maybe they had found the help they needed. "Is it true?" The man continued, looking at Myra. "Are you really the princess?" Myra stepped forward, her chin held high. "Yes, I am. And I need your help." As the rebels gathered around, Ethan felt a sense of unity. They were ready to fight for a cause bigger than themselves. With Myra at their side, they would stand against the darkness. "Let me know if you need any changes or further parts." Here's part 4 of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess. Written in simple and basic English. In third-person style. ### Part 4. The escape. The rebels surrounded Myra, their eyes filled with curiosity and determination. Ethan felt a wave of hope wash over him. They had finally found allies. Captain Brooks stepped forward to speak with the leader of the rebels, a tall man named Yarrick. "Thank you for coming," Captain Brooks said, her voice steady. "We need your help to protect Myra from Lord Varric." Yarrick nodded, his expression serious. "We have heard rumors about his plans. He will stop at nothing to capture the princess. We must act quickly." Myra stepped closer, her voice firm. "I want to help fight against Varric. I cannot hide while my people suffer." The rebels exchanged glances, surprised by her bravery. Yarrick smiled slightly. "You are brave, princess. We can use your knowledge of the palace and Varric's plans." Ethan felt a swell of pride for Myra. She was willing to fight for her people, even though she had just escaped from a life of luxury. "Let's get to work," Captain Brooks said. "We need to gather supplies and plan our next steps." The group quickly set to work. The rebels showed them a hidden camp nearby, where they had stored weapons, food, and medical supplies. Ethan helped organize the supplies, while Myra spoke with the rebels, sharing what she knew about Varric and his forces. As night fell, they gathered around a small fire. The atmosphere was tense, but hopeful. Ethan could see the determination in everyone's eyes. They were ready to fight for a cause much bigger than themselves. "Varric has spies everywhere," Myra warned. "We need to be careful. If he finds out we are planning to resist him, he will strike hard." Yarrick nodded. "We will move quickly. Our first goal is to..." Here's part 5 of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess. Written in simple and basic English. In third-person style. ### Part 5. The revelation as dawn broke over the forest. Ethan opened his eyes to the soft light filtering through the trees. He listened to the sounds of nature waking up around him. Birds chirped, and a gentle breeze rustled the leaves. For a moment, he forgot about the danger they faced. But then he remembered the soldiers and Lord Varric. Ethan sat up and looked around. The camp, Mira was sitting by the fire, talking quietly with Yarrick and some of the villagers. They were discussing their next steps, and he could see the determination in their faces. He felt proud to be part of this group. "Good morning," Ethan said as he joined them. "Morning," Mira replied with a warm smile. "We were just talking about how to gather more support. We need to make a plan." Yarrick nodded. "The sooner we can unite the factions, the better. If we can show them that Varric is a real threat, they will. Join us." Ethan felt a rush of excitement. "What can I do to help?" he asked eagerly. "We need scouts to spread the word," Yarrick said. "Myra can help you contact the leaders of the nearby villages. You'll need to be careful, but if you can convince them to join us, it will make a big difference." Myra looked at Ethan, her eyes bright. "I know a few villages that might be willing to help. If we can reach them, we can build a stronger alliance. Let's do it," Ethan said, feeling determined. "We need to act fast." After a quick breakfast, Ethan and Mira set off together. They moved through the forest, sticking to the paths Mira knew. As they walked, Ethan felt a growing sense of purpose. They were on a mission to protect her people and stop Varric. "I've never done anything like this before," Myra said, glancing at Ethan. "But I feel stronger now. I want to fight for my people." Ethan smiled. "You are already fighting. Just by being here and standing up to Varric, you are showing your strength." They traveled for hours, stopping at a few small farms along the way. Each time, Myra spoke to the farmers and families, explaining the situation. Many were scared, but they could see the fire in her eyes and began to listen. "The princess is brave," one farmer said to his wife. "If she believes we can fight back, then we should help her." Ethan felt encouraged. They were gaining support, and he could see the hope returning to people's faces. They arrived at a small village called Rivenwood, where the houses were made of wood and the streets were lined with flowers. As they approached, Myra took a deep breath. "This is one of the villages that could help us. The leader, Elara, is a strong woman. She will listen." They entered the village square, where people were gathering for the morning market. Mira stepped forward and called out, "People of Rivenwood, I am Princess Mira, and I need your help." The villagers turned to look at her, surprised. Whispers spread through the crowd. Elara, a woman with long dark hair and a confident posture, stepped forward. "What is this about, Princess?" she asked, her voice steady. "Why are you here?" "I have escaped from Lord Varric," Mira explained. "He is searching for and he plans to crush anyone who stands in his way. We need to unite to fight against him." The crowd murmured, some looking worried while others showed interest. Elara crossed her arms, studying Mira carefully. "You expect us to believe? You? Varric is powerful. How can we fight him?" Mira stepped closer, her voice strong. "I believe we can stand together. Asterisk, here's part 6 of your story. He jumped into the black waters to save a stranger. He didn't know she was a princess." Written in simple and basic English, in third person. Style, ### part 6. The stand the villagers of Rivenwood gathered around, their eyes focused on Mira. Ethan could see the mix of doubt and curiosity on their faces. This was a critical moment, and he felt the weight of their trust resting on Myra's shoulders. "Varric may have power, but he relies on fear," Myra continued, her voice rising with passion. "If we stand together, we can show him that we are not afraid. We can fight for our freedom." Elara studied Mira for a moment before speaking. "You are brave, Princess. But bravery alone will not win a war. We need more than words. We need a plan. Ethan stepped forward, feeling the need to support Mira. We have already gathered some support from other villages. If we can unite our forces, we can create a strong front against Varric. The villagers exchanged glances, considering Ethan's words. Slowly, Ilara nodded. Very well. If you are willing to lead this fight, I will stand with you. But we must act quickly. Varric will not wait for us to gather our strength. Myra's face lit up with hope. Thank you, Ilara. Together, we can rally others to our cause. Ethan felt a surge of excitement. They were gaining allies, and it felt like a real chance to make a difference. Let's start by sending messengers to the neighboring villages, he suggested. We can spread the word and call for a meeting. Yes. Myra agreed, her eyes shining. If we can gather as many people as possible, we can plan our next steps together. Ilara called for volunteers, and soon a group of villagers stepped forward to become messengers. They would travel to nearby villages and spread the news about Myra's escape and the need for unity against Varric. As the messengers set off, Myra turned to Ilara and the villagers. We need to prepare for what comes next. We should gather supplies and weapons. If Varric sends his soldiers, we must be ready to defend ourselves. The villagers nodded, their expressions serious. They moved quickly, organizing themselves to gather food, tools, and anything they could use for protection. Ethan helped where he could, feeling a sense of purpose in the hustle and bustle. As the sun began to set, the atmosphere in the village changed. There was a mix of anxiety and determination. Everyone knew that Varric's forces could come at any moment. Myra and Ethan found a quiet corner to talk. Do you really think we can win? Myra asked, her voice low. Ethan looked her in the eye. I believe we can. You inspire people. They see your courage and want to follow you. Together, we can make a difference. Myra smiled, but there was still a hint of worry in her eyes. What if Varric finds us first? I don't want anyone to get hurt because of me. Ethan placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. We will protect you. We are all in this together, and we have to believe in each other. Just then, Varric arrived, his expression serious. The messengers have returned. They have gathered support from several villages. They want to meet us here tomorrow. Myra's heart raced. That's great news. We can form our plan together. Yes, Varric replied. But we must also prepare for Varric's soldiers. We need to set up defenses around the village. The villagers worked through the night, building barricades and gathering weapons. Ethan helped them set up lookout points in the trees, using his engineering skills to create simple traps. The atmosphere was tense, but there was also a sense of camaraderie. They were all working toward a common goal. As midnight approached, Myra sat by the fire, looking thoughtful. Ethan joined her, sensing her worry. What's on your mind? He asked. I'm thinking about my family, she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I left everything behind. I hope they are safe. Ethan understood her pain. You did what you had to do. Your safety and the safety of your people is what matters now. Myra nodded, but still looked troubled. I wish things were different. I wish I didn't have to fight. Sometimes we have to fight for what we believe in, Ethan said gently. You are strong, Myra, and you are not alone in this. As the night wore on, the villagers gathered around the fire, sharing stories and preparing for the fight ahead. They spoke of their hopes and fears, and Ethan felt a deep sense of connection with everyone. The next day, the village was alive with energy. Villagers arrived from nearby areas, ready to join the fight against Varric. Myra stood at the front, her heart swelling as she saw the faces of those who believed in her. Thank you all for coming, she said, her voice clear and strong. Today, we stand together against a common enemy. Lord Varric thinks he can control us with fear, but we will show him that we will not back down." The crowd cheered, the sound echoing through the trees. Ethan felt a rush of excitement. They were ready to fight. As the meeting continued, Yarrick and Ilara helped Mira lay out their plans. They discussed strategies for defending the village and how to approach Varric's forces if they came. "We need to be smart," Yarrick said. "We cannot take them head-on unless we are sure we have the advantage. We will set traps and use the terrain to our benefit." Ethan listened closely, feeling the weight of their plans. They were preparing for a battle, and he knew they had to be ready. As the sun rose higher in the sky, the villagers began to set up their defenses. The atmosphere was charged with energy and determination. Ethan worked alongside Mira, helping to repair weapons and set up lookout points. "Let's make sure everyone knows their roles," Mira said, her voice steady. "We need to be organized if we want to succeed." They divided the villagers into groups, assigning tasks based on skills. Some would guard the perimeter, while others would prepare food and supplies. Ethan felt proud to see everyone working together. As the day went on, Ethan and Mira took a moment to step away from the hustle. They found a quiet spot near a stream, where the sounds of water flowing helped ease their nerves. "What if we fail?" Mira asked, her voice trembling slightly. Ethan turned to her, his expression serious. "We won't. We have each other. And